Alright, YouTube. Arlen from Arlo's Ethos here. I got this inspiration to do a YouTube video. It's going to be my very first YouTube video, seeing as I'm filming it in my bedroom with my knives on a stump while I'm sitting on a Yeti. Anyway, Slicey Dicey put out an open tag for a knife beauty pageant, and thought it'd be kind of fun. So I've already taken this once, and I've found that we cannot do this with all the knives on the table. My camera simply won't focus, so I'm gonna have to take them all off. And I'll leave the knives on there that we're going to start with. So we're starting with these two knives. Well, I'll put this one aside for a second. This is my very first knife. This is the blade that began this whole crazy madness that is knife collecting. Yeah, it's a USA made, call it a upswept clip point. Maybe a Bowie. I'm not 100% sure. But man, look at that patina. I mean, as a kid, me and my little brother each had one. We kind of commandeered them from our dad, who had two of them, coincidentally. Yeah, this has been a good knife for me, that's for sure. Stacked leather handle with some leftover graffiti from a previous owner. Brass guard, and I think this is aluminum pommel. I'm not sure. Guard's nice and tight. But yeah. Growing up as a kid with my little brother, having a pair of knives like this between us was a good thing. We had a lot of fun, made a lot of stuff, cut a lot of trees, goofed off generally. I'm trying to get a shot of the tip. It's not the thinnest behind the tip, but oof, just felt it grab a little bit. She is sharp. So yeah, that's my very first knife. And this was my very first Spyderco knife, or my very first folding knife that I ever had. Spyderco Delica. This has got some kind of G10 scales on it. When I bought it, it was the version with the green, light green G10 with the steel back spacer, so it was some kind of fancy little sprint run of a knife, and it was a little heavy. It would have steel liners, big steel liners between the G10 and yeah. So, ditched that, got this Anzo pattern, black G10, gave the metal backspacer to my brother who had a Delica, and before I gotten it, I made fun of him for, oh, what are you doing with that knife? Oh, it's got a big hole in it. That looks dumb. And he was like, man, you don't even know. And I didn't. And when I got the knife, I figured out pretty quick that the Spidey flick with the Spidey hole is just great. A little tough to tune this knife with the washers. Oh, and then I got a Casey Lynch clip on it. I did a home ano job. I don't know if you guys can pick that up. It's not the greatest home ano job, but it's nice and subtle. Gives a little bling to the knife. But yeah, this one will never leave the collection. It's worth more in memories than it is in dollars. Yeah, good little knife. Which one should we do next? So what we're doing first, we'll go, this is my first ever custom knife that I had built for me. This is a Kestrel. It's based off of the Kestrel EDC. I asked him to put a 4-inch blade on it and a micarta handle, and man, I think this micarta handle is just so good. This is one of my favorite knives. It's got a great sheath that it came in. Oh, it's in my backpack. Yeah, it's got a great sheath. I did some kind of crappy hand rub because it was all scratched up from the Kydex, so I mean, she's a real user. But yeah, it's just a really good size in the hand. Good for food prep, just good for camp chores. I mean, if you're going to carry a fixed blade, I think this handle to blade ratio for me is really good, especially because I got the clip on outside right here, the sheath, so it goes inside my pocket, sheath clips, and then I just have the handle sticking up out of the pocket. But yeah, that's my custom Kestrel knives. He's into making backpacking knives and ultralight knives, hunting knives. Actually got my ultralight backpacker from him right here on the table. Let's see, come on. Ooh, there's a big old dog hair. Yeah, this is my skeletonized Orvis Hunter with a paracord wrap of my choice. This is the old style. He's got a big old logo. It says Kestrel. No, I'm not a big fan of that, but this little logo is clean. I mean, this thing has such a beautiful stone wash. You can see I've barely even used this thing, but I've had it forever. It just mainly cuts open small things. Backpacking, you don't really want to beat on this skeletonized handle. It's really not that. It's a slicing tool. And I mean, look at that tip. It is tiny. I don't have a caliper to measure that, but man, that is a thin grind on this thing. And it just feels great in hand too. Really lightweight, really easy to carry. Oh, later dog. Yeah, good knife. 4.5 inch blade, I think. Another good one for food prep. Big belly on it. Yeah, let's see. I think we got a couple more fixed blades to go. So this is my beat on it knife. You know, when you're out there, you want to do some batoning, or you want to cut some stuff, or who knows, pound steaks into the ground, whatever you want to do. This is my Survive Knives 4.7 GSO, black micarta handle. You're gonna see I got a thing for micarta. That's just how I go. I mean, this thing, look at how fat this thing is. Talk about pregnant. And it's about to pop out a little GSO 2.7. But yeah, big old lanyard hole with a pommel. I mean, I love this knife. I can't say much. I wouldn't order a knife from the maker directly just due to the shipping issues and supply issues they're constantly having. I don't know. You can just Google the company. You'll figure it out. But on the second hand on the market, I mean, man, yeah, these are good. It just feels great in the hand, and it's got a big palm swell here, so if you need to get more out with the knife, you can chop with it there. It just feels really good. The jimping's great. I just think it's a beautiful knife. They got this peened finish on it with a big, huge tip, big old thick tip, and their sheath is hands down best kydex sheath I own. I mean, it snaps right in there. No wiggle, no shake, no vibration, no noise, and oh man, I can't say enough good things about this combo for an outdoor beater knife. It is just fantastic. Probably could have used one with a little bit more length, like a 5.7 or what's it, 5.1 would have been the way to go for me, but you know, we'll see. Sometimes you just got to be happy with what you got. Let's see, in the last fixed blade here, it's a recent pickup. You know, all this crazy virus stuff. I thought, you know, it's about time I upgraded my chef knife. So this is a JB Knife Works. He's currently an apprentice over at Fiddleback Forge. That's where I got this knife. But I mean, as you can see, this doesn't look much like apprentice work to me. This looks fantastic. So his grind on this blade is just beautiful. And here you can see some rough forging marks here left into the blade is what I think that is. Oh, it's just beautiful. With a black linen micarta handle. Some, I think it's white G10 backspacers. You can see this one. Again, it's got that nice palm swell in it. It is pretty heavy in the handle. I would have removed more metal material from the handle if I was going to go do a full tang construction chef knife like this, but it is very wieldable. The tip is feels very ergonomic. I mean, I guess we got a balance point. So I guess the balance point is right just about in the middle there. So I guess I wouldn't change a thing. But that's why I'm not a knife maker, I'm just a knife collector. So what do I know? As Nick Shabazz would say, I'm just a random jackass. Anyway, alright. So, moving into the folders. Let's see, we're going to bring out... Now, this is my Koenig Arius. This is a Gen 2, and I have used this knife and beat on it. It's got some scratches here, you can see. I don't know if you guys can pick them up. I got scratches in the clip, scratches in the titanium, more scratches. Just got... This thing has been well loved on. And you know, I had one of those $1,200, I paid $1,200 for a Gen 3 style 57 105 slim Arius with a hand rub satin blade, and you know what, I like this flipper tab way better. It looks all pointy, but you know what, when you get it right up here, boom, it's on the lock bar, when you get it up top there, the blade just flies open. And I think that has to do with your angle and geometry of this flipper as opposed to the other flipper, which is kind of cut off right here, so you're not quite as high. It's more of a press and a pull. I mean, this thing is just, it's not sharp, catches your finger, and I got no complaints. So I sold that, kept this knife that I'm actually going to use. It's got the polished flats with the stone wash, and oh man, that two-tone blade just gets me. Simple logo. Clean, big clean titanium handles, real smooth. I flame anode this thing too. It was getting all worn out, so just goofing off. You know, love this thing. It's got this weird little wear mark right here. I don't know where that's coming from. Anybody has any idea, let me know. But yeah, this thing, killer whale for sure. Just love it. I put a set of skiff bearings in here because I think the Gen 2 had like metal bearings with metal cages. So I just wanted to upgrade to some. I think they're ceramic with phosphor bronze, but I could be mistaken. I mean, this thing is just fantastic. Love playing with knives with my left hand. Just seeing, they just feel good. Anyway, moving along, we're climbing up in price here. This knife, let's see, come on, focus, is a Ferrum Forge Scepter. That was heavily modified by Razor Ramon over on Instagram. Good dude, funny, keeps it real, does great mods. You know, he's well worthwhile, setting up a new shop, so I'm stoked to see what he's going to pump out now. But yeah, this is a little guy, but you know what? I mean, for some reason, the modding on this always reminds me of like a pharaoh. Just looks like kind of a Egyptian style. I don't know. But yeah, I scratched it all up with my KME, because I was an idiot. Didn't know how to sharpen with that thing. I gets it real sharp, but I kept scratching up my blades, and after I scratched up 3 or 4 more, I was like, fuck this thing, I'm getting rid of it. We're going, and we're going to be embarking on a hand sanding, or a hand sharpening, freehand mission. So, ordered some nice 8-inch DMT stones. Boom. Yeah, this thing's fun. It takes a minute to figure out the angle. It's kind of low on the peanut. If you're too high on the peanut, it won't fire. Nice and low there on the peanut. But yeah, love this thing. I think the story goes that some guy walked into Ferrum Forge's shop, and it's like, oh, these are too big. Scepter. So they called it the Ferrum Forge Scepter. Sweet little knife. Alright, next we got the Gareth Bull Shamwari 3" on phosphor bronze. I think the only knives we've seen so far, the only knives I own are on washers are the Koenig and the Ferrum Forge. Everything else is going to be on washers. But yeah, this thing's great. I had a 3.5" Shamwari, and the thing was just an absolute tank. Super thick, super heavy, super beefy. It had great ergos and it sounded fantastic, but the thing was just a straight chonker. Anyway, I know there's a bunch of drama surrounding this maker, you know, his customer service and, you know, the secondary price, but it's a sweet knife. I mean, there's great knives out there for way less, but this thing is sweet. It's just so thin here, and it's light, and it's thin here, and it's sharp. The only gripe I got about this beauty is this pocket ramp. That is an aggressive pocket ramp. I could probably use a little bit less than that, because this has been, it's caught on my clothes and it pulled this thing out, and you can see, pulled it out. I dropped it on the ground out at Bodie right there on the titanium, and he found it. That was a lucky day for me. Could have been shammed down. Anyway, good knife. Cleaned it up a little bit, and yeah, just fun to carry, fun to flick. Next in line, we got the Holt Spectre feather pattern. Runs on phosphor bronze washers from Ben. Let's see if we can get a shot of those washers. There they are. Big old phosphor bronze washers in there. They're awesome. I've had two Spectres, and I've tried them both with washers and both with the bearings, and for me, washers is the way to go. This might be my most stunningly beautiful knife. Just that feather pattern combined with the dual ano that Angie does on all the knives, or some of them, is just great. Feels good. I had one with a mirrored stonewash. This is a near mirror, but the mirrored stonewash for me was just epic. But yeah, I mean, this thing is awesome. Love this knife. Number 426 if you guys are interested. Looks totally different on their website. But yeah, I mean, the feather pattern is just an insane pattern. That is just wild. Anyway, beautiful knife, definitely. We've been climbing up in price, so let's climb up in quality. So this here, if somebody said you could carry one knife for the rest of your life and it couldn't be a custom knife, then here it is, boom. I'd carry the Benchmade Bug Out. This thing is all dirty. Okay, yeah, I've been working. Luckily, I've been working, so this has been my work knife. Yeah, I dyed the scales. I switched some black Access Lock hardware in here, some gold, and then I did this funny little goofy mod with a hacksaw before I dyed them. Just to give the tail of the Bug Out a little bit more traction. Come on, because you got it here. Right there, down in the butt of your hand. Got here, and then right when you're closing it, that butt, that corner right there, these little jimping grab into my hand right there when I'm closing it. So that was just a little thing I was goofing off with. Love this clip. Can't say enough good things about this clip and the blade, and yep, Benchmade Bug Out. go get yourself one. Modify it, have fun. I tried micarta scales, I had titanium scales. I just, you know what? It's all about these scales, man. I'm all about weight, and these scales really do it for me. So, love that knife. So the next two knives are kind of very similar knives. They're both Jason Guthrie Scouts. So I looked for a Scout for about a year, and then especially a micarta Scout. I was looking for a micarta drop point Scout, and I looked for about a year, and I just was having so much trouble finding one. And then I decided to sell my 3.5 inch Shamwari, and some guy hit me up and asked if we wanted to trade, and I was like, hell yeah, because I mean those Shamwaris they're going for like upwards of 15, 16 on the secondary. People are asking that. I only paid $9 for it directly from the maker. And so that's about what a Scout cost, and so I thought it was a fair swap for me. So I swapped it for this knife here. This is the Jason Guthrie Scout. Full micarta, Wharncliffe with the polka dots. I wasn't sure about these polka dots at first, but they have definitely grown on me. I mean, he does some ones that are different sizes and different colors, and I'm not into that. But this thing, with the symmetry, the way each one catches a little shadow, I mean, it's just so good. Full micarta handle. Wharncliffe shape. I mean, this thing, I'm a drop point guy, but all my other knives, if you go back, are pretty much all drop points. This is my only Wharncliffe design, and that just because Jason makes such a good knife. And I was able to find this one and then another one, so very lucky in that regard. I did put a oversized thumb stud on each one. Each thumb stud is zirconium from TI Connector. Jason uses a different screw, so I found one with a perfectly same size head, and I had to bore out the screw hole to get it to fit through into the thumb stud. But just a couple thousandths with a Dremel. No big deal. The old hardware still fits. And this pocket clip, I cannot say enough good things about this weird looking pocket clip. It just goes into the pocket smooth, it holds, it does everything a good pocket clip should. And Jason's just simple user, approach here just ends up looking incredibly elegant. These run on Teflon washers, which he uses because he talks about they have a lower coefficient of friction than phosphor bronze washers. So, yeah, got that one a couple months ago, and then I just got this one the other day from Mark, EDCAF on Instagram. He hit me up to trade my Warney for this one, and I wasn't sure. I mean, whatever, forget that story. Look at this wave pattern. I love it how it's inconsistent here, and these ridges just feel amazing. These mild ridges in the titanium are just epic, and it's got this bright blue liner that you can only see with the titanium side of the knife. So you're like, oh damn, silver and blue, and then you turn it over and boom, micarta and silver, and you can't really even see any blue other than a little hint. But yeah, I mean, wow. And this drop point action, it does it for me. Cutting, whatever I gotta cut. If you're cutting up your avocado, or I mean, whatever. I like drop points. If you're slicing open boxes, cool, get a Wharncliffe. But if you want to use a knife as like a Wharncliffe is more utility, and this is just more universal. And I mean, this, you can tell this blade was built for this blade shape. It is just so smooth, so fluid. And if you look at the other one, they're both great. I mean, both of these knives, they're just insane. I was like 90% happy with the hype when I got this one, and then I was 100%. I'm sold. This is it. But yeah, I just can't believe how two completely different knives can have the same handle and the same maker. I mean, if you look at it, the difference is not in the blade shape. It's not really that crazy. But the way they handle, I mean, you look, you go for a cut like this, you just have just the tip. You go for a cut like this, you have that whole belly of that knife contacting for your draw cut. So, you know, it depends on what you like to cut and how you like to cut it, which will really help you decide your blade shape. And I knew I was going to go for a the drop point. I'm just a drop point guy. Yeah, that is just awesome. Love these things. I got one other thing to show you guys. It's kind of knife pornography for me. Sorry about that. I dumped it everywhere. Classic first YouTube total tool dump. Anyway, this is my little knife maintenance toolkit, because when you're this into knives, you got to have a knife maintenance toolkit with all your bits and everything you need to take them apart. In here I got some 10 weight nano oil, and I got some 85 weight nano oil, or 1085. I got some blue Loctite. I actually ordered the tube of the blue Loctite paste, because this stuff just oozes and just spurts everywhere, and it smells weird, and yeah, I just hate it. And then I yanked a screwdriver out of this and slammed this magnetic bit holder in here, just for getting stubborn things loose or doing a dual pivot. And yeah, this is my Kerr driver, which I goofed around with, put a little Talon grip on. But yeah, and then I got tweezers, some cotton swabs, and all my bits. But yeah, you know, if you guys like the video, you let me know. Give me a holler. You can find me Arlos Ethos on Instagram. And yeah, love knives, and the community has been freaking sweet. So I'll see you around.